What's up, Nerds and Geeks? My name is OMGWTFLOLFTWBRB, and welcome to Suprocker Saturday. If you're unfamiliar what Suprocker Saturday is, well, it's really just any day of the week that I choose. Well, it's actually the one day of the week that I choose to play any game I want that really has no storylines behind it or anything like that, such as the ongoing series that we've been doing for quite a long time now. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the arcade playthroughs. Last time we played through as the Marvel character Phoenix. This time we have to play as a Capcom character. And as you see, I've already selected two characters that I haven't really done, and that's Wesker and Nemesis. And next up, I chose M.O.D.O.K as a character we've done. Now, if you have been watching this series for a while, you probably are wondering and screaming at me, you've done Wesker before. Yes, I have, and no, I haven't. I decided to delete all the previous characters I did before I started doing the info that I give the character. So everybody before Deadpool, which is the first character I gave info on, is I'm gonna be redoing. I've already done Galactus, so this time around though we are gonna be doing Wesker. My original intention was to do Nemesis, but I failed. And you'll see in this one that I'm not good at this game. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not. I want to be good, but I'm not. Wesker is considered one of the easiest characters to play as, and I just butcher him. But yes, we are going to be playing, and we're going to be beating Galactus with Wesker. So our normal thing we like to do around here, Nerds and Geeks, is I like to give you information on the characters that I play as. And since we are playing as Wesker, who is really grown into my heart as a character, I'm going to give you information on Wesker. So Wesker's his full name is Albert Wesker, and his first game was Resident Evil in 1996. He was designed by Izuyo Oshishi and Jun Takeuchi. Excuse me if I pronounced those names wrong. I don't know, it didn't tell me who created him, so I just went for the next best thing, and that was designed. Initially, he was introduced as a supporting character in the first game, Resident Evil, and he has been one of the primary antagonists throughout the series, where he usually manipulates story events behind the scenes. He's power-hungry, knowledgeable, and infinitely cunning. He was the man who sought power and domination over the entire human race, all for his own gain. To this end, he was affiliated with the Umbrella Corporation as one of the most promising researchers, and at the same time participated in illicit, I don't know if I said that word right, activities by going undercover as an officer in the Raccoon City Police Department, RPD, and the leader of the Stars in Raccoon City. Though the course of much betrayal of his allies to further his own plans, Wesker faked his death, gained superhuman powers from a prototype virus, and worked alongside both the mysterious organization and Tricell Inc. He would eventually enact a plan originally created by Oswell E. Spencer to transform the human race into powerful superhumans like himself, and to be a god to rule over them in a new age. Wesker was the main antagonist for much of the series, surpassing even Oswell E. Spencer. The film actor of Wesker is played by Jason O'Mara in Resident Evil Extinction, and Sean Roberts in Resident Evil Afterlife and Resident Evil Retribution. He has a son named Jake Mueller, who was introduced in the newest game that was just released this year, I think actually last year, Resident Evil 6. Wesker made his first appearance as a non-playable character in the original Resident Evil game, assisting the player character against Lisa Trevor in the remake. In the game, he is the commanding officer of Alpha Team in Special Tactics and Rescue Service Stars. That's the name of them, by the way. It is eventually revealed that Wesker is a double agent working for the Umbrella Corporation, ordered by his superiors to lure the Stars into Spencer Mansion to be used as test subjects against mutated creatures to gather battle data. My sunglasses are custom made. Your new god deserves nothing but the best in quality. I will try to do voices for anybody. The reason I didn't do Nemesis is because, well, he doesn't really have a voice. He just grrr. Anyway, against mutated creatures to gather battle data. Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, and the others come to learn of Wesker's true motive, but after releasing the Tyrant Monster, Wesker is seemingly killed. The Sega Saturn port of Resident Evil features a battle mode minigame where the player can fight a zombified version of Wesker. However, this is part of an even bigger plan. In the special giveaway fictional documentary titled Wesker's Report, Wesker reveals that he survived his apparent death in the first game by injecting himself beforehand with the experimental virus provided by his former Umbrella colleague, William Birkin. That revived They augmented him with superhuman strength, speed, and regeneration, but at the expense of his humanity. Wesker returned in Resident Evil Code Veronica, augmented with superhuman powers and working for an unnamed secret organization against Umbrella. When Chris knocks his sunglasses off during a brief struggle, Wesker's cat-like eyes are seen for the first time. He confronts both Chris and Alexia, and he took the corpse of Steve Bernstein for test. In the remake Code Veronica X, he briefly confronts Chris's younger sister Claire and nearly kills her in order to torment Chris, but is called away by his associates and thus chooses to spare her life. Wesker then appeared alongside with William Birkin in Resident Evil Zero, a prequel to the original game, and later Resident Evil 4, as a conspirator manipulating events from behind the scenes, where he would issue orders to Ada Wong. He is also the protagonist of Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles and a playable character in several of the game's scenarios, expanding upon events alluded in early games, as well as his involvement in Umbrella Downfall after the events of Code Veronica and his development in Resident Evil 4.
They once called me M.O.D.O.K, but I'd rather be killing than computing.
By the way, the reason why I chose this team is because Wesker and Nemesis are like, you know, I don't know if Wesker did create Nemesis, but they're pretty much fighting stars, and I can just see M.O.D.O.K being like Wesker's underling. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see. In the end, he kills Sergio Vladimir, a loyal Umbrella enforcer. Wesker returns to Resident Evil 5 as the main antagonist, conspiring with the Tricell pharmaceutical company to create a potent virus called the Eurobos, which he ultimately plans to release into Earth's atmosphere, ensuring a complete global saturation. Before being killed by Wesker, Oswald Spencer reveals that Wesker was the survivor of a genetic engineering experiment on children, Project Wesker. It's implied in Resident Evil 5 downloadable content, Lost in Nightmares, that another Wesker, Alex, survived as well. Chris and Shiva Alamar prevented the worldwide infection and ultimately kill Wesker inside a volcano at the end of the game. Mashikia Kawata, the game's producer, confirmed that Wesker perished in the game's finale. Some concept art for Resident Evil 5 also indicated that Wesker was to have been in his human form while in lava and then blasted with missiles from an F-116 fighting Falcon, before eventually being shot in the head on the landing platform by Chris and Shiva. You want to know my personal opinion? I don't think the guy's dead. He always comes back, just saying. Wesker appears in the spin-off title, Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D, as a playable character along with various other Resident Evil characters. Albert Wesker's voice is heard on the 15th anniversary special video narrating the event. Wesker appears in the crossover fighting game Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds, as a playable character and a key character in the game's plot, in which he joins forces with Dr. Doom as the two build an army of supervillains, attempting to merge the two dimensions in hope of conquering both. During the final battle, if Wesker is not one of the playable characters, he will also be revealed. Hold on, I actually was able to land this. That's pretty badass, isn't that? That is Nemesis is level 3, and I'm fucking happy as hell I actually landed it. That was a surprise to me. Anyway, in hopes of conquering both. During the final battle, if Wesker is not a playable character, is not one of the playable characters, they're saying, he will be revealed to be one of Galactus' heralds, along with Dr. Doom, the Marvel villain, Domaru, and fellow Capcom villain Akuma. He also makes a guest appearance as an unlockable character skin in Lost Planet 2. Wesker's character was an adapt from the 2007 live action film Resident Evil Extinction, played by Jason O'Mara. This version of Wesker is the head of Umbrella Corporation, as opposed to Wesker's role in the games as a renegade high-ranking Umbrella researcher. He runs Umbrella's operations from behind the scenes, holding messages via hologram, with his underground board of directors in Tokyo. Sean Roberts took over the role of Wesker in 2010's Resident Evil Afterlife, where the character is closer to his Code Veronica and especially his Resident Evil 5 incarnation, complete with the superhuman abilities and glowing red eyes. He even wears the same outfit as in the later game. Wesker says some of his lines from the game as well. He later appears in Resident Evil Retribution as a defector from Umbrella, who sends Ada Wong to rescue Alice from underground Russian Umbrella outfit run by the Red Queen, who has taken over the rest of Umbrella. The character Albert Wesker has been well received by video game publications. In 2006, IGN ranked Wesker number 3 on their list of the top 10 most memorable villains. claiming that Resident Evil fans know that whenever Wesker shows up, trouble isn't far behind, and also ranked him as the 14th best video game villain in 2010. In 2008, GamePro ranked Wesker as the 40th most diabolical video game villain of all time. An IGN article from March 2010 titled Big Boss of the Day, Resident Evil's Albert Wesker discussed his appearance across the franchise, comparing him with other villains including Bowser and Sephiroth, as well as commenting it is strange to have Resident Evil without him. GameSpot featured him in the all-time greatest villains poll, where Wesker lost to Ganondorf from The Legend of Zelda. In 2009, Games Radar listed Wesker as one of the top 7 characters who never stay dead, describing him as the I don't know, man behind the curtain in Resident Evil series. Similarly, 1UP also placed him on number 8 in their article. This is risen in response to his apparent resurrection in Resident Evil series. Games Radar gave praise to Wesker's death in Resident Evil 5 as it showed the character's strength due to requirements to defeat him, while DC Douglas' performance as the character also received positive comments during the self-bloopers from the series. According to the PlayStation Humors, from his perpetual shades, stoic persona, and swanky haircut, Wesker has all the makings of an iconic, a bit somewhat stereotypical video game villain. On the other hand, Play listed such fight as the 3rd worst boss fight in PlayStation 3 games, emphasizing how many times the player had to fight him until he's defeated. 1UP also ranked him as the top thing in the series that Resident Evil 5 couldn't do without prior to its release. In 2012, Complex ranked him as the second douchiest video game character, stating Wesker has a following, yes, but there's somewhat of a very Agent Smith about him that makes us shake our heads. Okay. So, now I'm gonna name every person that voiced him. In Resident Evil 1996, he was voiced by Sergio Jones and Peter Jessup. Richard Woe voiced him in Resident Evil Code Veronica in 2000, Resident Evil 0 in 2002, and Resident Evil 4 in 2005. And DC Douglas is the most memorable of them all. Voiced him in Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles in 2007, Resident Evil 5 in 2009, Resident Evil The Dark Side Chronicles in 2009, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of Two Worlds in 2011, and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in 2011. And in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Joji Nataka voiced him in the Japanese voice. And now we move on to the part where I will give all these special character interactions in this game with him. But real quick, I don't know if I'm going to be able to say this line, by the way. It's long, I believe. Yep, I'm not going to be able to say that, so I couldn't even get it in time. Alright, so the first one we're going to be talking about is the pre-fight dialogues and intros, which is basically what you're seeing right now. So when Wesker when he versus Chris Redfield, he says it's time to close the book on us. Against Jill Valentine, he says let's see how good you really are. Against Omarastru, Thor, or Shuma Goroth, he says I am the only god. And against Rocket Raccoon, he says looks like I found a new guinea pig. Interesting. Now the next thing is call names, which basically when you I believe call them out. And this is only the special one. I'm not naming everybody because it's not going to show. Only like little special ones and the thing. So let me just find him real quick. Of course he's W, so he's all the way at the bottom. So he only has one, and it's with Phoenix Wright, and he says Mr. Wright. So everybody else is, there. Next is the victory pose quotes, is when, I believe at the very end when you see those things, and one I just didn't read. So let's see any special ones that Wesker has in the victory pose quotes. I hate how he's so far down the list. Okay, so against Chris Redfield, he says, I will not be held back by such insects. Jill Valentine, I expected better from you. Amarashu Thor or Shuma Goroth, I am the only god. And Rocket Raccoon, now you know, I am God over man and beast. After win quotes is the one where you see all three of them lined up together. So, that one. Let's go down to Wesker, who's all the way at the bottom again. Okay, here we are, Wesker. What? Oh, finally, I skipped over him. Against Chris Redfield, he says, "Don't worry, Chris. You can die in peace knowing the world has a new god to watch over it. Jill Valentine, you are quite a remarkable subject. You will serve me well for a long, long time." M.O.D.O.K, I do so look forward to dissecting that ridiculous large brain of yours. Dr. Doom, there's only room on this planet for one true mastermind. Rocket Raccoon, you are an interesting creature. I'd like to know more about you. I think a bisection, I think I meant to say dissection, but whatever, is in order. And Nemesis, you are a pale imitation to what tyrants can do. I shall have you disintegrated. The next one is the assist quotes. It's basically what he says when he's calling for assist or he comes in for an assist. So for him, when he's calling for help, he says, "Time to work," and when his assist is finished, he just laughs. He goes, And defeat quotes. Hold on. I still don't understand that. When you beat Rocket Raccoon with M.O.D.O.K, he goes, "I defeated a raccoon. Science." Okay. When Wesker is defeated, he has he says two things. If he's defeated by a light attack, he goes, "This can't be." And when it's time over, he says, "Impossible." And replacing fallen allies, say if M.O.D.O.K died and so did Nemesis, he would say these things. When one ally is remaining, he says, "You've disappointed me." And with everybody dead besides him, he goes, "Useless chaff." His taunts, he says, "Please try harder and submit." And he doesn't, I don't believe Galactus has any pre-fight dialogue with him, so that's about it for Wesker. I guess what I can give you now is my personal feelings towards Wesker's, being part of this game. I feel that it is not only a fantastic choice to include him in this game, but necessary. Okay, real quick, remember when the thing said that if Wesker wasn't a playable character, he would not be one of Galactus' heralds? Yeah, that's a lie apparently, because Wesker's in this. But yes, I feel like Wesker not only is a fantastic choice to be in this game, but is necessary. Like, I hate that fucking thing, how they can just do that. Like, he's just fantastic. Like, he's a main villain that definitely deserves to be in this game, and he's an interesting character. Like, there's not a lot of if you ask me, I will tell you that they have a lot more characters that shouldn't be in this game that should, that they have a lot more characters that shouldn't be in this game than they do that should be in this game. And Albert Wesker is one of those characters that should be in this game. I mean, he's a fantastic choice for the character, and I was ecstatic when I first saw him, because I didn't even know anything. I never played a Resident Evil game in my life, Nerds and Geeks. But Wesker has become one of my favorite characters. When I went to Comic-Con last year, I dressed up as Albert Wesker. My friend Joe, otherwise known as Joey Star, he dressed up as Dr. Doom, and I was Albert Wesker. But, like, it's crazy. Like, Albert Wesker has really grown a special place in my heart. I don't even like him. I mean, not him. I never played a Resident Evil game. That's what I meant to say. I never really had an interest, but now I kind of do. And I don't know. Like, he's just so badass, and he definitely deserves to be in this game. I'm happy that they included him in this game.
You win. You'll make a nice test subject.
He'll make a huge test subject, Wesker. Everything is going according to plan. Well, almost everything anyway. I have to admit, a cosmic being coming into play was something I could never have anticipated. Galactus' appearance made him the primary target of every hero on Earth, leaving me to my own devices. A grave miscalculation on their part. They were easy enough to capture in their weakened state. Now I can test the compatibility with the Ouroboros virus. These fantastic specimens from the New World should yield zombies to truly marvel. Well, as you see, It's a different ending from his previous one. It's about the same. It's very similar. They just changed up a few words here or there. But that ending leads a lot of people to believe, and it's, you know, not really rumor, but it's kind of an interesting thing people like to think about, is maybe the reason why there's Marvel zombies is because of Albert Wesker. Now, that would be a great way to do it, but they kind of screwed it up in this game with Frank West's ending, where his ending is basically, I don't know, I haven't showed him yet, I don't believe. I think I deleted him, but his ending basically shows him and Mr. Fantastic go into the Marvel Zombies world, so it could be thought of that, yes, Albert Wesker created the Marvel Zombies, but they kind of put that away with Frank West's ending. But this is also the end of this week's edition of Suprocker Saturday, where we continue on with our Marvel vs. Capcom playthrough. Next week, we will do a Marvel character. I don't know who yet. I'm kind of thinking maybe I'm feeling a bit of a, maybe Nova or Iron Fist, one of those two, I don't know. But yes, I do hope you have enjoyed this playthrough. Like I said many times, if you came here looking for a good playthrough, like good, you know, combos and everything, you came to the wrong one, because I'm not good at these. I'm a Mortal Kombat guy. I'm good at Mortal Kombat games, not Capcom games. But I love Marvel vs. Capcom. I love the Marvel comics. But anyway, enough rambling on. I do hope you have enjoyed this playthrough, and if you have, please do me a favor, leave me a like and comment if you would like. Also, subscribe if you have not. It really shows your support towards my channel and shows you like my shit I put up. And as always, I have been OMG, WTF, LOL, FT, WBRB, Nerds and Geeks, and I will see you next week when we continue on with another Marvel vs. Capcom character. So until then, you guys have yourselves a great day.